What is up, everybody? It is Monday, which means we got cover two in the building. Coach, what's up, brother? How you doing?
What's good, Jess? Feeling good, man. 1 month away from the draft. We got some new news on what's going on with Trent. So, Niners news never dies. Let's get to it.
No, it never does die. But first bit of news that was pretty big today. It's NFL news, but it's very relevant because it falls within the division. That is one JSN and the Seattle Seahawks coming to terms on a massive 4-year extension that amounts to 42 million AAV. I will tell you, I've changed my opinion on this deal, but I want to hear first what your thoughts overall were when you saw this deal, and have your opinions changed since, I don't know, early this morning, I guess, on that deal?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So initially, I just did the raw numbers in my head and said to myself, $42 million a year? I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that. And also, I did take into consideration that we're looking at JSN from our NFC West eyes. And what I mean by that is they're running our offense. We understand the uptick in stats and performance of players when they perform very well in this offense, especially when you have a good running game. JSN is a very talented player, but this is also kind of the results of what you get when you meet the right scheme and the right fit with your skill set. So we also can see that on its face is JSN a one-of-one, put me out on the X, let me just throw me the ball. The whole stadium knows I'm about to get it, and I could just go up high point and get the ball on like some Jamar Chase, Jay Jetta type vibe. No, he does not give off those vibes, right? He gets his food in a different way. He gets it done. So yeah, initially I thought that $42 million a year was a bit much, but I started looking at kind of how the numbers broke down. I want to give a shout out to my boy David, backcountry fan, my boy David Nagy. This is my dog. But also, there's some more information about this. Technically speaking, he still has 2 years left on his original deal, which is worth about $2.83 million versus the total cap, which is including his fifth-year option. So the 4-year extension makes it come out to an average of 32.8 per year over now 6 years he has under contract with Seattle. So if you spread the years out and look at it just for the holistic money as it's compared to what he was due already, how Seattle jumped ahead of this, and how they're looking at it to hit their cap, it makes a little bit more sense at 32 a year over 6 instead of 42 over 4.
Well, and not only that, and that was exactly it. So David kind of got my mind right on it. Him and Marco actually in a group chat, and then obviously I saw David's tweet and had to give him love. He's exactly right. I mean, it's essentially a 6-year deal because, and this is what's smart about this, is that because you did it after year 3, you can add money however you want to year 4 and year 5 to kind of tail this down. So really, if I said, hey, JSN, because it's only 120 million guaranteed, JSN's going to get 20 million a year for the next 6 years, you'd be like, that's it? Are you kidding me? What a steal, which is basically what they gave him. So yes, obviously the agents leak the information. You get that big sticker shock right to begin with. When the details of the contract come out, we'll see how it plays out. But most likely, it is actually a really, really good deal for Seattle. And they're going to do the same thing with Devon Witherspoon, who is also had 3 years of play. And being that he's a corner, shout out to Marco, he threw this out there too. What they're probably going to do is they're going to front load the piss out of his in year 4 and year 5 because corners don't last as long. And so JSN is going to play through 29 on this deal. I mean, imagine what receivers are going to be 3 years from now when he's technically just starting his new deal. It's going to be astronomical. He's going to be way down the list in 3 seasons from now. So really, this was a very, very good deal. But it does speak to the fact that regardless of how we slice it, yes, it was a smart deal. Yes, overall, the sticker shock is worn off, and we realize that this was a great move. However, it does still point to the fact of Seattle has to pay him. They have to pay Witherspoon. Obviously, in future years, they've got other guys. The depth is starting to fall away from this team. And if they don't continue to draft well, which they are a good drafting team, but if they have a year where they have a lapse in judgment, that depth could really disappear. And all of a sudden, the Seattle Seahawks are way back with the pack. So that's one thing I'm noticing as well.
I kind of want to push back against that.
Yeah, go ahead.
We got to go with recent news. Just like I've been bullish on the Niners for the recent stuff that they've given me, I can't ignore what Seattle seems to be doing that, quite frankly, I'm jealous of as a Niner fan, which is they had a tackle issue and they handled it in one draft. They got it done immediately. They picked up Abraham and they picked up Cross immediately, right? Mm-hmm. Like, look up, the Rams had a corner issue. What did they do? They went out and doubled down and got it handled immediately, right? So I understand holes, I understand depth, and I get it traditionally, especially if you're over here with us. You know, losing depth kind of seems like an ugly fall that just doesn't happen. You're just waiting for it to happen. These guys can bounce back in this year's draft just as fast if they're as intentful as they were in past drafts. And also, one thing that they don't have a problem with, which it seems like we do offensively, is they don't have a problem playing young guys. That's true.
So they know very early if these guys are worth something. Like, there is no guessing game with them. No, I mean, I think that Seattle's probably going to continue to draft low because that's just what they do. But the point is that the depth is falling away from this team. And so it does force them to continue to draft low. But they don't care. They don't seem – it's not like they've gone out and – I don't know that they've added really any free agents to this team that I can think of. Have they signed anybody that was not on their roster last year? I don't know that they have. And if they have, it was something small, I would imagine. Nothing crazy.
Yeah,
so they're relying fully on the draft, which good move for a team that can draft well, right?
Yeah, they picked up, they just re-signed everybody. They picked up,
they just matched the deal on Bobo.
Rodney Thomas from the Colts. That's it.
Okay. So
they lost Kenneth Walker, and they picked up Noah Igbenogany from the Commanders. That's it. They haven't done anything.
Okay. So there you go. So not a lot. They're relying on the draft fully. Okay. Well, enough about Seattle. I found it interesting because I tweeted out, I'm like, is he really worth all this? But when you break it down, you get it over 6 years, it's actually a really good deal. All right. Let's talk about the 49ers, though. And this, I haven't really talked about this a lot, if any. The Trent Williams situation. And it took another turn today, which is interesting. We were going to talk about it regardless, but Trent Williams, Jason La Canfora, NFL insider, said, I don't think anything happens unless the 49ers make a big move. Williams doesn't have much motivation to play for much less than the $33 million in cash that he is set to earn in 2026. The 49ers clearly are not comfortable with that. Hence, the renegotiation talks. Williams is actually aware there is a robust market for his services as a free agent or through trade. What are your thoughts as you hear this from Jason La Canfora?
Nothing new that we didn't already know. It is, it's pretty much what we've all felt, that they're nowhere close. The deal would have been done by now. And right now, both sides have a legitimate stance, right? At one hand, you could say, yeah, the Niners are, it's the Niners' fault for putting themselves in this position. Yeah, but so should they never try to stand up for themselves? Like, should they never try to right this wrong, right? So I understand that there could be a conversation for the Niners putting this. I fixed that joint. I can understand that there could be a room for, calling out how the Niners should have never done this. They've continuously kicked the can down the road. They've built a bad precedent by doing this earlier when he wanted guaranteed money, by bending the knee. All of that stuff can be true. But the facts are this. We're not going to replace anybody that's going to come right in and play at the level of what Trent Williams is doing right now.
No.
So we can might as well just go ahead and get that out, right? We're not going to get an all-pro Hall of Fame level left tackle that can just be plug and play right after Trent Williams goes. So that's the inevitable. For me, I don't think that I heard some commentary from Mike Florio that the Niners, quote unquote, were squatting on, have the potential to just squat on Trent Williams in the sense of basically wait him out until his entire market dries up and then essentially pay him whatever they can and force him to play. I don't think that that's viable either. I believe that they need to trade him. Do I think they'll trade him? No. I think they need to trade him on draft day. Move on, go ahead and get a tackle ready. They're sitting here talking about how Chris Forrester is one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL, and he's the guy that gets everything going. He turns everything. He spins pure gold out of whatever we give him. Then give the dude a left tackle and get him ready. All right? I'd much rather go out, get us a first-round tackle, go get a second-round pick for Trent, pick up some more stuff where we can actually get ourselves an offensive line or pick up some more guys and get our trenches together and move on from this. At the end of the day, he's 38 years old, so he can't play forever. All right? He'll be 38 this year. So, I mean, at what point are we going to do this? Because what is for certain is if he stays, we're picking up void years. He's not going to finish the deal.
Yes, of course. Okay, so let's go down this route. I disagree on what they should do, but we can get to that in a minute. I'm just curious. You think they can get a second round for Trent Williams?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think the Chiefs would let go of a late second round pick for him.
Yeah, but it's not late for them. Remember, they were like, it'll be like the 10th pick in the second round.
Mm.
What if we threw in like a fourth? You think like a Trent Williams and a fourth for a second? Would you?
I'd do that
for the Chiefs.
I'd
second
do that.
Rounder, like 10.
I would do that.
Round two. Okay. I would do it too.
I'd do that. 2 second round picks. Come on, man. Like, why are we acting like we didn't pick up Joe Staley in the 28th overall right before we got Trent? Like, go find a guy. There's tackles out there. All right. Go get Aiyuk from Arizona State and go get him ready. Pick him up in the 27th, right? If you're really hitting on something, Caleb Lomu would be right there. All right?
Okay. Then you got 2 second round picks in that scenario.
Come on, man. You got 2 second round picks. If you don't like that, then move down. Isaiah World is there. You could pick him up in the later rounds. Like, guys, like, play ball, man. Why are we sitting here talking to these dudes about how to do their job? Go get a tackle. Get them ready.
I hear what you're saying, Hugh, but that was a very different circumstances where the 49ers were literally the only team that could get him. That was it.
Yeah, that was an inside deal.
Because he wanted to play for the Rams or the 49ers. Those are the only 2 teams he was going to play for, or he was going to retire. And the Rams basically said, hey, we'll trade for you, but you got to play left guard until Whitworth retires, then we'll kick you out to left tackle. And he said, no, I'm a tackle. And then so the 49ers, that was it. It was like the 49ers were going against themselves. So that's way different. I don't think they can get a second rounder straight up for him, but that's why I said, hey, give him a fourth. Fourth and Trent for a second round pick. I think you could probably pull that off. I do. I think. Yeah. I mean, if Trent by himself is worth an early third, then you throw in the fourth, maybe you can get a second. I don't know. I just, I would love that. Okay, but I think the play is to just let him write out his deal, coach. Let him write it out. Like what is at risk here, right? Because right now they didn't pick up the $10 million option, right? Which brings the cap space or cap room up to like $47 million for Trent Williams. It's like 47 against the cap.
7 plus the 32, the 38.
Astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
However, You've got the space. You just reworked Bosa's deal. So you've got the space. Take it on the chin for a year, force him to play or retire. Like that's the way that I see it. Yes. Because he's gonna play. He's about his money. Week 1 rolls around, those game checks start rolling in, he'll show up, he'll play.
46-3 though, Jesse.
You're not paying him 46-3. You're paying him 33 in cash.
33, but the cap hit.
Who cares? Who cares? Because you're not taking any. There's no future cap hit with that. Nothing.
Well,
no
wait a minute.
Okay.
Hit. All right. So that completely straps us because we at least need $10 million to sign our draft picks.
We've got 20 something right now. We're good.
You so ghetto.
We're good.
My goodness.
You're gonna have $47 million free up next year. $47 million just boom hit the cap next year when he's done, or moves on, or retires, or whatever he does. Hell yeah. I would.
So you just want to ride it out?
Yeah, man. Listen, because the 49ers, we can talk about it.
So hold on. So wait a minute.
Yeah.
You want to ride him out and then just let him walk into free agency?
It's 39 at that point. Who cares? Like right now, the 49ers are serving 2 masters. You can't serve master one unless you keep them.
All right. So if I'm Jed, right, and this guy has it, he signed over and said, "Coach acting like he owns equity in the Niners."
I saw that. That would be a laugh. That'd be a good laugh. Super fan.
That was funny. All right, but all right. So if I'm Jed and I've had this guy basically bilk me like straight cash, I'm paying you out of pocket literally to be on this team, okay? And you basically want to do it one more time. We end up paying you $33 million anyway, and then you walk off and get another team to get you another bag. I'm not gonna feel any kind of way to look at. I'm not supposed to feel any kind of way about that. I'm not supposed to be looking at John like, dude, you guys got to get something for him. We can't just let him walk out of the building. I don't see it happening. I would trade him. I'd trade him on draft day. Get something for him. Fuck it. What's the problem with that? Why don't you like that? Tell me that. Why don't you like that?
It's not that I don't like it. I do. I think it's a good option. Like the trade that we just talked about, I would love. You get Kansas City's 2nd round pick. You trade a 4th. You trade Trent.
I'd do it for a 3rd.
I'm open. Okay, so Trent straight up for a 3rd. Kansas City's 3rd round pick. You do it right now.
I'd do it for a 3rd.
Okay. So let's operate that on that. My issue is that you're taking the major cap hit this year anyways for a 3rd round pick. Right? Now, obviously, that 3rd round pick, if you draft well, can help you in the future. Probably not helping you a lot this year. The 49ers are clearly a better team with Trent Williams on it versus not on it. And this is the problem that I have.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Can I cut in right now?
Yeah, of course.
That I'm not here to challenge you, but that is something that is said all over the place. Just as much as Kyle Shanahan is a genius. The 49ers are a much better team with Trent Williams than they are without him. We have not won. We are not a Super Bowl team with him right now.
Preaching at the choir.
You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's kind of like, what are we really doing right now? Are we faking it? Like, the type of money that he's calling for constitutes the type of team that he's playing with, which means that we're paying you top dollar because you're one of the top tackles or one of the top teams, dude. We ain't the fucking Browns, bro, where you just get to Myles Garrett us because we suck so bad we just feel embarrassed that you stuck it out with us, so we just have to pay you. That ain't who we are. Like, this dude has done this time and time again. I think it's time to move him and trade him for parts. Let somebody else worry about him missing 4 games when you really need him. Let them worry about it. It's time for us to rip the Band-Aid off. And there's a lot of viable options in this year's draft. We should have did it 2 years ago when we had the chance. We could have did it. But we didn't, whatever. But now is the time. Trade them. And this is with no malice. I'm not even mad at you. This is like not even personal, but it's time to move on. And yeah, if there was ever a time to move a piece, an asset of ours where, for God forbid, we have a little bit of leverage, it would be now. Do it during the draft when you know the panic window is going to be there. People are going to need to have a guy like Trent. Get somebody in the draft and then, double down in the trenches, because right now we ain't tough. That offensive line was ass with him. Let's say that. Trent Williams was playing when we couldn't score a touchdown on the ground. Remember that? Trent was there.
I agree. Listen, you're preaching to the choir when you're like, hey, the 49ers aren't winning the Super Bowl this year. Who cares? Get future assets. I don't disagree with that premise. But based off of what the 49ers are trying to do, which is serve two masters, meaning they're trying to win now while also keeping flexibility, or as Lombardi would say, optionality in the future. Okay?
Yeah.
With the optionality in the future, okay, and trying to win now, you're trying to serve two masters. The only way to get that done is to keep Trent Williams on the current deal and let him ride it out, in my opinion. You can't accomplish both by trading him. You can't accomplish both by signing him. The only way to serve both those masters and what the 49ers are trying to do is make him write out his current deal. That's the way that I see it.
I mean, the only thing that would signal, the only thing that the Niners would have to admit if they trade Trent Williams is that they, in fact, know that they're not in a Super Bowl window right now. That's what that would signify. And, I don't know. Are they that secure enough to not care about that? Who knows? Recent studies show that they're not. They really care about how they're viewed. And that's another big problem where they're trying to, like you said, serve two masters in the fact that they are rebuilding a team without coming out and saying it out loud. And we all see it. So at some point, you can't get halfway pregnant. You're either in a rebuild or you're not. And part of a rebuild is getting rid of players like Trent Williams where you can get assets for him. So we're at a crossroads right now. And I tend to believe that the Niners will trade him because I don't think that Kyle has that much sway in that department anymore. I'm trying to tell you. I think Parag and these guys are offering Trent because they respect him, right? I think that there's offers out there. But I also believe that they are in no illusions. They're not playing around with him like, yo, we will move you. So I expect them to get traded during the draft. If these reports are true, that they're worlds apart, I expect them to get traded. And I would not be upset with it.
You play to win the game.
You play.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. You actually do think he's going to get traded, though? Really?
Yeah. Because I don't see the Niners bending the knee. If they bend the knee...
You don't think so?
If they bend the knee, then that means that this regime has not changed the way we thought it did. I'm keeping the same energy until they show me something different. What they've shown is that there's been a shift fiscally here where Parag is running the show and they have certain fiscal plans for certain positions and players on the team, and they're not just going to get, quite frankly, leveraged into paying these guys whatever they want. I think that's why we've seen what's happening with Juwan Jennings. I think that's what we've seen with Brandon Aiyuk. Nefariously, we're going to get to that. And I think that, you're seeing it with Trent now. I believe that he will get traded. They would have did it by now. And I get it. This is just them not picking up the $10 million has nothing to do with why I think. Yeah. Nothing. So I'm not saying that. That's just them resetting the floor because they both don't like the deal. Trent doesn't like it because he's not getting any more guaranteed money. The Niners don't like it is because the number's too high. So both guys hate the deal. So that's why they're not redoing it. But I do believe that Trent wants north of $27 million. That's the average for the top three players in his position right now, right? And I think that the Niners are probably offering him maybe like 25.
This says he wants 33.
That's fucking insane. I'm trying to work him up. That's insane. That's insane.
This is literally what it says. Listen, Williams doesn't have much motivation to play for much less than $33 million in cash he is set to earn in 2026.
Trade him.
32, 31 maybe. That's not 27.
Trade that motherfucker. You 38, bruh. You got to get traded. I'm sorry. Trade him. Let somebody else deal with that shit.
Gammon says both of you are wearing hats. That's why you be capping. Sean says Seattle has 12 picks next year. They might hit on 6 to 12. They're not going to make 12 picks. They're going to they only have 4 picks in this year's draft. They're going to trade some of those future picks to get back in this draft. I bet you they end up with like maybe 9 picks next year, which is still a lot. Don't get me wrong, it's still a lot, but they're going to trade a few to move up this year. I would imagine. But we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see. But that's talk about optionality. There you go.
Optionality.
Optionality. Okay, so the Trent Williams thing though, real quick. You said that not picking up the $10 million you don't think has anything to do with. I agree with you, by the way. Mm-hmm. I think it was smart to not pick it up because at the very least, like let's say they had let Trent Williams go, that $10 million would have come due anyways, and you don't want to pay future years on Trent. So whether you make him write out this deal, you trade him in the draft, you don't want the future money to be there on the salary cap. So that $10 million, taking that and rolling it into today, super smart.
Yeah. I think it's time for them to get off the tee. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not mad at Trent. Exercise your money.
Not at all.
Do what you got to do. You're a private contractor, independent contractor rather. Exercise your right, brother. Do what you got to do. But that doesn't mean that we got to be the ones to put up with it. Nah, trade his ass. Trade him.
Well, listen, before we give him too much credit on doing that with Trent Williams, they did kick the can down the road on Nick Bosa, which was stupid, in my opinion. 29 years old, third ACL tear. Restructured, kicking the can down the road. I hate that.
And that's why I'm not killing Trent, because if I'm Trent, I'm looking at that situation like, you ain't doing this to your boy. Mm-hmm. And he's coming off an ACL situation. Imagine how they would have been coming at Trent if Trent was coming off of an ACL. Are you crazy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I see it. What's good for the goose, man. I understand where Trent is coming from. But, hey, for what it stands, we got really good tackles in this draft. It's time for us to replenish the trenches anyway. We need to get younger. We're pretty old in the trenches, too. You know what I mean? Like, we had Ben Barch and freaking Jake Brindle. Like, come on, man. It's the geriatric squad. We need to get some youth down there.
Terradome says Bosa's the only legit double-digit pass rusher on San Francisco. Tell me I'm wrong. You're not wrong, but that's also what you're trying to do is lead us down a path that I don't think either of us are going down. That's a true statement, but that doesn't mean that it's smart to kick the can down the road on Bosa.
And that doesn't mean he's consistent either.
Yeah. Also, another true statement. Bosa, third highest paid pass rusher in the NFL, missed multiple full seasons. Also a true statement. So, there you go. I just wouldn't have done it. Wouldn't have done it. So, okay, let's talk about the 49ers overall and what the plan is this offseason. We've seen some of it play out. Obviously, we'll see what goes on with Trent Williams, but I brought it up that it seems to me, Coach, that the 49ers are trying to do two things at once. They're trying to remain competitive right now, try to put a Super Bowl roster together on the fly, but in doing so, they're non-committal to any of these guys. I mean, Dre Greenlaw, 1-year deal. Mike Evans, essentially a 1-year deal. Christian Kirk, 1-year deal. So to me, it's like, hey, we're gonna get some good players. We're gonna try to go and win one this year, but we're non-committal. Past this year, we want the same flexibility that we had going into this offseason. so that we can build towards the future. Do you see it the same way, or do you feel like the 49ers are going all in or trying to build towards the future? Like, how do you see the 49ers plan, and do you like the way that they're going about it?
I love the way they're going about it fiscally. Okay. I like the mix of veteran leadership that we have at different different groups, especially the receiver room. The receiver room is just, quite frankly, was depleted. We really don't have anybody that we can depend on. We had really no veteran leadership. The top end of what was our receiving room is gone, and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk. We needed a little bit of continuity there, and if we have to take a step back and just raw talent and performance, then I'm willing to do that, especially in a year where I don't think that we're competitive to be able to go get the Super Bowl. And even in the middle of them doing that, they found a way to be able to get more talent at the position, right? Mike Evans is coming off of a clavicle injury, right, which is a very odd injury for a receiver, but it's something that you hope that he can stay healthy with throughout the season coming forward. Christian Kirk is somebody that could be able to help us out in the slot, be able to be savvy in special teams, help some of our younger receivers like Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing to be able to get these guys into tow. If you look at kind of what Emmanuel Sanders did for us in 2019 to help out Deebo Samuel and kind of show him the way on how to be a pro. Now, there were some top-end signings that I also loved. It's not all veterans, guys. Osa Odigizua, we needed that pick. Right, I love that trade. Bringing him in absolutely lifts the floor of everybody on that defense. I could sit here and talk on and on about how it helps the linebackers, DBs, the guys around them. But Osi Odigizua also shows that I think the Niners were pretty tired of failing at replacing Buckner. Quite frankly, they've been trying ever since they left. They tried it with Javon Kinlaw. They tried it with Javon Hargraves. They tried it with bringing in different guys. Kalia Davis took a stab at it. Finally, they went out and got a guy that we think is in his prime, young enough to be able to give us plus performance at the position and be able to help everybody around him and raise the floor. I love the addition of the tackles and Vollmer and the guard and Toth. I think that he's going to compete for the left guard spot. Hopefully not, but I think that's where he's going to compete for that spot. But Vollmer and giving us depth at the offensive line position, giving us a good swing tackle, which I think he can do for us. I'm happy about that. Now, with everything that they did, like you said, if you look at the money side of it, they didn't really go ham on anything. They kept a lot of these guys low and slow where we could just move on from a lot of these guys outside of Osa Odigizua. And I like that. What we did basically is we raised the floor and we added more depth. With what we've put on this team and where we stand with the cap situation, with having about 33-ish million in cap space, I love where we stand going into the draft to be able to add guys that can play now, right? We need more top-end guys. I know one thing that you pushed towards the end of the season that I had to swallow, pause, I didn't like it, but we don't have young elite talent. We don't have a lot of it. We don't have guys that are going to be pushing to be in that upper 10 to 5 positions in the league of where they stand. And that's where you can go out and go get a good guard or go get a good tackle. Go fix your interior offensive line in the 4th round. Go fix the safety in the corner position in the 4th round. So I like where we stand right now. And also, I love that we don't have too much veteran guys where they're staying for multiple years and they seem to be kind of guys that are going to grow roots here, because we still need these young guys to prove their way to show that they belong here. So I'm looking at you, Ricky Pearsall, Isaac Garendo, Jordan James, Jordan Watkins, right? Jacob Cowing, Renardo Green. Like, these guys got to play and actually D Winners, Nick Martin, the CJ West. So these are the young guys that are coming up on 2-3 years being here, where they got to put up or shut up. And if we get to the latter part of the season and we find ourselves leaning on Christian Kirk And like, if we find ourselves like, golly, we really hope can Mike Evans go this week? And we're still sitting here looking at Ricky Pearsall like poor Ricky, or trying to figure out when Nick Martin can finally get on the field, then we know where we stand with a lot of these young guys too. So I do want to see a transition as the season progresses with the young guys, with these veterans, because, you know, they're supposed to be pushing these guys out the way, not just letting them toe the whole thing. They're old for a reason.
I see the vision now, and that the 49ers are at least keeping the future path clear. They're not signing a bunch of guys to big-time contracts, long-term deals. Osa Digizua was already under contract. I love that trade. You're not going to get a better player, in my opinion, in round 3. And if you do, you got very lucky. And he can be a part of this future. So I like that trade. I don't believe that the 49ers are truly a team that can win a Super Bowl this year. And so in that sense, I don't necessarily understand signing a lot of these veterans that are going to push younger players down the depth chart when really you should be building towards the future. But it's not as bad of a plan as signing these guys to long-term deals. A bunch of injured guys, a bunch of older guys. At least they have the flexibility. But really what it says, and we talked about this earlier on the phone, Coach, really what this says to me is John Lynch is truly a lame duck GM. Because yeah, you can go sign people, John, but you're not making them stay here longer than you're here. And right now, you're only here for one more year. We'll see after this year how it goes. I'm not saying they can't bring him back or won't bring him back, but right now, you get 1-year deals for everybody you bring in, basically, because we want that flexibility going forward if we have a new GM. That's the way that I see it.
I think we're on the same page. We're just on different paragraphs, brother. Okay. Let me help you out. You said it yourself. You have concerns about the Niners bringing in veteran guys that can push the younger guys down on the depth chart, right? Ergo, taking away their reps, their performance, them being able to show that they can lead, right? Now, that is functionally, that is how that is supposed to work, and I get that, right? You then also said that John Lynch is basically a lame duck GM because he is signing 1-year deals basically with these veterans, and they're here for as long as he's here, right? Which means that there almost seems as though that there may have been a cap on the autonomy of what John could have do with the guys that he brought in. Meaning that, hey, you're not signing guys 4 or 5-year deals. You know, get out here, find short deals, find short stuff, which in a way kind of marries up with your tenure here, right? So if things don't work out, you move with them. This is where you and I meet. This is where our arguments meet together. I like this because what saves John, essentially, is what John has done in his job already, which is the only way John is going to be able to stay past this year is if Ricky Pearsall ascends, is if Jordan Watkins gets Christian Kirk benched, right? Or better yet, gets Christian Kirk cut. Right? The only way that this happens is if we actually get Jordan James on the field and he progresses so much, he has so much productivity that Kyle is forced to share the load with Christian McCaffrey. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is that I love the way this is set up is because these guys, these veterans are literally here. They're mercs. They're mercenaries. They're here to handle a 1-year job, 2-year job at the most. All right. But these young guys, they have a carrot in front of them. And basically the quiet conversation is, are you going to let these old motherfuckers come in here and sit on your jobs now that we got all the major money out of here? So BA's gone. Debo's gone. All right. We've moved out all of these contracts out of the way. You guys have been sitting here. The excuse for you guys for all these years used to be, we got to learn how to play like Niners because BA's here and Jawan is here and Debo's here. They're gone now. So what's your excuse now when we're trading in all of these one-year wonder guys just to hold us over? So really, John's job will get saved by his picks. And attrition and competition needs these guys to get cut. Remember when Logan Thomas came here, that tight end from the Commanders? Yes. And everybody was so hype that Logan Thomas was here. And I said to you, what did I say to you? I said, dude, if Logan Thomas makes this team, we are cooked. Because he was that injury prone and that bad from where he came from. And he made the team. He just couldn't be healthy enough to go. And that's what I was like, dude, we're going to be cooked. Son, Christian Kirk being able to come over here, slide in at slot, and absolutely get no pushback, that's an indictment on John. That's an indictment on John. Mike Evans and these guys being able to come here and just completely be the guy with absolutely no pushback from Jordan Watkins or Ricky Pearsall or Jacob Cowing or, Christian McCaffrey once again comes in here and takes over the entire load and Jordan James can't find the field. Yeah, that's on John. Your guys can't find the field. So I feel like he's in the perfect position.
So it's an indictment either way, basically.
Yeah, it really is. Because if the old guys carry us through, the only thing that may save him is if we win with the old guys, right? Then it'll be like, well, it worked. You know how to pick your team. But if we lose, and we lose with those old dudes, and Ricky Pearsall is sitting on the sideline with the vanilla ice cut, chilling with a windbreaker on the sideline, doing TikToks after games. Bro, John is cooked, bro. Can you imagine Ricky? That's just stupid ass shit. What the fuck is wrong with this dude, man? This dude, he be adding insult to injury, bro. Be hurt to the motherfucker, dancing like shit in front of the camera. I'm like, what is wrong with this dude? Like, Ricky wild as shit, son. He be dancing and shit. Be hurt and shit, hurt like shit, dancing all over the place. I'm like, bro, do you see yourself? Ricky Wild and shit, bro. Hey, that's all I'm saying, bro. Like, it's bad optics. It does not look good, man. It does not look good. So I'm just saying, man, John, that's your dog. You know what I'm saying? Those are the dudes who you got to ride in the battle with, man. I'm just telling you. You can't be on IR doing TikTok dances, bro. You just can't. It is the bad. You can't have that on your jacket, bro. I'm telling you. Tell me that shit don't have you hot. Tell me.
No, it does. Did you see that video that somebody put out? And I just like screen grabbed it and then retweeted it and it went crazy. Was like, the Rams think they have the number one receiver in the NFL, and it's like Puka Nacua making a one-handed grab over two people. And then it's like Seattle thinks they have the best receiver in the NFL in JSN, and it's him making a one-handed grab. And then it's like, and the 49ers have Ricky Pearsall, and he's like throwing shit up, hitting home runs. Like, bro, what are we doing?
Like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
So annoying.
Stop dancing. Be normal. Yo. Son, so that's all I'm saying, man, is that it don't look good, the optics don't match, and, when you hurt, there's like a stoic demeanor that you have to take on when you hurt. Seen and not heard, dude. Seen and not heard. Like, you hurt. You are not contributing right now. Your ass need to go get on that damn bike, get in the hot tub. You better look busy. But you can't be... Come on, man. You can't be America's Got Talent all in the come on, bro. That's too much. It's too much to take. Yeah, thank you, bro.
His name is Slick Rick because of his dance moves, too. It's not even like Smells like foot in here says, I'll say it. Purdy is also a big-ass question mark going into next season. If he misses time and or continues to show he's a bottom feeder, what then? You exercise that contract and you get out of that thing. Come on, man. That's what you do. Now, I don't know if the 49ers will do that, but if they're moving on from John Lynch anyways, then you'd be like, John Lynch is a guy. See ya. Like, I don't know. This is true. This low key is a very serious topic that we're not talking about. And it's probably because it's too early, right? We'll get later in the offseason, but this is real. If he's injured, let's say he misses another 5-6 games next year due to injury. Doesn't matter how good you play, man. Like at some point, you can't continue to be injured. And
yes, it does.
And on top of that, he's got the up and down play in his. I don't know, man.
It matters. It matters.
You know what?
It matters how you play. I'm gonna tell you. You know why?
Because I'm gonna show you something. But go ahead.
Oh, here we go. I know you getting revved up. Here he go. Here you go. All right. So look, I'm gonna speak it to you. You know what I'm saying? Till you take off. But here goes the deal. The reason why, if Brock comes out and misses 5 games, I get it. On its face, it's unacceptable. And if Brock was a normal case, I'd be ready to flame him. We all would. But you know that they are attached to that boy's success, that man's success. Let me not disrespect him. They're attached to him. You know, they've invested a lot in him. Not only do they want him to succeed, but they've put they put their own reputation on him to succeed. So just the same way Brock came in here and played, what did he play, like 9 games this season? They're going to dress that up and they're going to make sure that it looks good, because the Niners are not just going to keep it real and say that we don't want this dude. The money is there. The outs are there. They're going to move him secretly. But all I know is that they're not going to move him until 2027. If he keeps this up, where you just can't get a full season out of him. Because that's real. He has not been healthy consistently. I'll give you that. But you can get it out of your mind if you think that he's just going to get treated like a run-of-the-mill quarterback. They're not going to do that.
Let's see. I'm going to see something real quick. I had a playoff stat for him, but I don't really care so much about that because that's whatever. We can talk about that. But it was from this last season. Come on, man. Come on. Talk way too much in this group chat. Can I tell you?
All right, tell me what you're looking for, bro.
Well, it was about how he was basically a stat merchant against like 3 teams this last year.
Oh, come on, man. All right. Now we're splitting atoms here. Thanks a lot, Isaac Newton. Like, come on. Who doesn't know that? We know, like, it's about making sure that Brock is efficient with the guys that he has around him. He's not, how can I say this without being offensive? He's not leading, he's not pulling the wagon. He's driving it. So I'm sorry, bro. Like, it's not, you're never going to get him in a position where you could just look at Brock like Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, where it starts and stops.
Whoa. Brock Purdy's been to a Super Bowl. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson haven't.
Whatever, bro. Bro. It's Monday. It's the off season. We can be normal for once and talk with some sense. Like, you're not ever going to be in the trajectory of talking about Brock that way, because we know that they're never going to put everything on his shoulders where it starts and stops with him. It's never going to be that way. So, you know, that's just what it is.
Yeah, you're right about
they're not going to put him in the driver's seat that way.
They do have an out in his deal, though, after this next year. I'm just saying.
They have an out every year with his deal.
After this,
every freaking year, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you truly want to say? You get very annoyed when it comes to Brock Purdy topics. What is it that really grinds your gears? Talk to me.
You know what grinds my gears, Coach? No, what grinds my gears is 49er fans that prop him up to something that he's not. You and I are having a serious conversation, and I agree with you about everything that you're saying about Brock. But that's not consensus. You know what I mean? That's just not consensus.
What do you mean, consensus on television? Consensus on
the
ESPN?
49er fan base. I've proven this to you multiple times over through social media. Like, I've done this.
The only time where Brock, I'll put it like this. The only time where I feel like Brock's, where people kind of get misaligned on Brock's talent is when we get caught up in words. When we start saying stuff like elite and, he's not elite, or, we get hung up on words. But if you have a conversation with the biggest Brock fan and calmly talk to them and just casually let them know, like, the team does not start and end with Brock Purdy. Like the biggest Brock Purdy fan will admit that. It's true.
Okay.
There you go. He's a solid starter. He is. He's a solid starter. He can read the field. If you give it to him, he will take it. But you have to be an elite defense to really get at Brock. You just can't be average and stop Brock Purdy. You can't, you know what I mean?
This is.
I know, I'm arguing with narratives, not you.
Yeah, nobody ever said this.
Hold on, let me see. I hate Brock because he can't carry us without help. Illogical, Jesse. No, it's not about he can't carry us without help. It's not about that. It's the fact that Brock Purdy he's a part of the machine. He's a part of what we do, right? He's a very important part of what we do, right? But we could be successful without Brock Purdy. You know what? Let me ask this question. Is Brock Purdy indispensable? Answer that question in the chat.
No.
Yeah, just answer that. Is Brock Purdy indispensable? Is there anything that Brock Purdy gives us that we could not go out and find and go get in another quarterback? And if you feel like he's indispensable, then tell me what is it that Brock does that we cannot get out of anybody else? Just tell me that. And that's no shade. That's no hate. That's just flat out.
Here it is. I found it. Brock played 11 games this year. He had 25 total TDs and 16 total turnovers. In 4 games versus Arizona, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and Chicago, he had 16 touchdowns and 3 turnovers. Those teams ranked 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 31st in passing defense. Mm-hmm. The other 7 games, he had 9 touchdowns and 13 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Literally talk about, like, playing his best against the worst teams and making the stat line look somewhat decent. By the way, that stat line is not great in itself, 25-16. Not a great stat line. But 9 touchdowns in 7 games to 13 turnovers. 4 games. We're talking 4 games. He played exceptional against awful defenses.
Yeah, I mean, he struggles with elite defenses. I don't think that that's hyperbole. I don't think that that's wrong to say about Brock Purdy. Like, that's like saying, oh, does Brock Purdy have a good arm? No. He's got a serviceable arm, but it's not good. It's not great. It's serviceable, right? He's accurate. That's the best thing that I could say about his ball. He's accurate. He's got good ball placement. Outside of that, he's got to throw with a lot of anticipation, and that is a double-edged sword because on one hand, it is a complete weapon when you're throwing into zones, but on another hand, when you're playing against man, come on, dog. You throwing balls with bows on them. That's pick city. All right. And when you get the teams that can play man on, where you got to throw somebody open, all right, where you got to hit that bang eight, where you got to throw to the top of the numbers from the far left hash, like when you got to get it out there, that's where we see Brock struggle. And that's never going to change. That's never going to change. So, I mean, look, I'm okay with Brock because He's a great guy. I think he's a good leader. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback as far as what a locker room needs. And at the same time, he's not killing us. Like the money is, he's getting paid like he knows what he is. He knows what he is. He ain't tripping. He know the deal. Now, if Brock wasn't here talking about, I want top 5 money, then we got a conversation. Then every time you hear me, I'm going after him. I'm at his neck. Like, dude, he ain't it. But if he's getting paid adequate money, I don't see the argument anymore. He's getting paid what he's worth.
I mean, this is a great comment, except for we did see Mac Jones in 2 games versus the Rams and 1 game versus Houston have 7 touchdowns with 2 turnovers. But, I digress. The offense, right?
Come on, man. Don't do that, man. Like, we saw what Mac Jones did. And I'm not even trying to bring up Mac Jones because that would just be too easy. But we saw what Mac Jones did with this offense. And that's with no run game, by the way. No run game. So, look, man, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay, so there's that. Juan says, who will the 49ers reach for in their first pick? I don't know. Go find somebody at the end of round 2. I'm sure there's somebody you can find that they'll love. XG365 says, Purdy will be an interesting watch this year. Of the receivers that he's gotten used to throwing to consistently, they won't be there other than Ricky, who I don't believe that he has chemistry with Purdy yet. I thought him and Ricky had pretty decent chemistry. I just don't know that Ricky can stay healthy and be on the field. You know what I mean?
Yep. All that dancing he doing.
Yeah. I mean, did he not dice those defenses up? I mean, what are you?
What are we talking about? We still people. I mean, what Brock?
No, I don't know. 67% completion, 342 yards, 85% completion.
Stop playing, man. Mac was averaging 45 attempts a game. He was cooking. Stop. So we gonna sit here and act like Mac wasn't cooking? Don't do that. Now, Mac is not the franchise quarterback of this team. Nobody went overboard. We were all happy to see Brock come back and light it up against the Cardinals. All right, so we all sat there and swallowed it and cheered for our quarterback. But don't sit here and act like what Mac did was chop liver. Don't do that. That's just disingenuous. He fucking floated us. Mac Jones floated us. So don't Mac Jones dice those deep. He was cooking. Stop the Rams game. Stop.
Yeah, listen, don't get me wrong. Brock is not the biggest issue on this team. Like, if the conversation is like, what's a bigger issue? Of course the O-line is a bigger issue. But I also think, like, 49er, we live in a vacuum. In observation, nature, evolution, I think you're one of those fans. I'm just being real with you, that you don't look outside of the 49ers when it comes across the league. Because, yes, the 49ers offensive line is not good, but you talk about them as if they're like a bottom 5 or even 10 offensive line. You know that the 49ers year after year consistently rank top 12 in the league, right? You do know that. Like, the 49ers offensive line, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying they don't need to improve it. I'm not saying it's not the biggest issue. It is the biggest issue that they've needed to address for many years in the draft. It needs to be better. But, brother, there are many worse offensive. You talk about their offensive line like they're the Houston Texans offensive line. That's a bad offensive line. The 49ers offensive line is not as bad as you make them out to be. It's just not. And I did film breakdown after film breakdown last season, 2 seasons ago, 2024, of Brock Purdy walking into sacks, man. Plenty of time, walking into sack after sack after sack. He was sacked like 7 times versus Minnesota. 6 of those were on him. 6
Minnesota
of them.
was bad, man.
Come on, man. Like,
it's the offensive line fault that Brock got a jump pass. Come on, dog. Sometimes you gotta understand what you brought out there, man. Sometimes Brock he be shooting with the wrong caliber. He don't got it, man. You don't got the distance.
See, I disagree. I think that's also another misconception. Brock is not a very accurate quarterback. I'm sorry. He's just not. He's not the most accurate passer. He's just not. He's not. All right, listen, I didn't want to get into a Brock Purdy conversation. You guys drug it out of me. But I do want to get into a Brandon Aiyuk conversation because you and I highly disagree on this one.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So, Brandon Aiyuk, Fair or foul, them hanging on to him. Talk to me, coach. Let's go through this.
I think it's fair. And I also believe that just because it's fair to do something doesn't mean that it's nice to do it. It doesn't mean that you're going to think it's nice or you're going to think that you're going to like it, but it's still fair, right? Okay. We got to understand that, if we talking about feelings, then you got to tuck your feelings in your pocket on this one because everybody has a gripe, right? If we're just talking about feelings. All right, so this is what let's just level set, because one thing that I don't want to do is start arguing points based off of a premise that we don't agree on. Sure. let's get the timeline out.
Okay.
What we do know, all right, Brandon Aiyuk's money got revoked in the summer, correct or not?
Sure. Yes, correct.
Right. Now, during that time when Brandon Aiyuk's contract got voided for his guaranteed money, Brandon Aiyuk then was a regular participant at the organization. He was at practices, he was in meetings, he was in the weight room. Brandon Aiyuk was around for an extended period of time. So much so is that George Kittle recently had an interview with Bussin' with the Boys where he said as much, that Brandon Aiyuk was in the building during that time, okay? Now, I don't know if the Niners leaked it or how it got out, but the news then got released that Brandon Aiyuk's money had been revoked and that he had no more guaranteed money with his contract, and the Niners had voided his contract. Then, after that, we started seeing erratic behavior from Brandon Aiyuk, all right? And now, since the end of the season, questions have come out about Brandon. The Niners have said that they are, in effect, done with Brandon Aiyuk. They said as much, came out and said, Brandon Aiyuk is not a 49er anymore. And we're assuming that Brandon Aiyuk should be let go by the 49ers. However, that has not happened yet. In that time, free agency has come. First 3 waves of free agency have gone. Now, Brandon Aiyuk is sitting in effect, waiting to be let go from the 49ers to a team of his liking, right? Which everybody knows is pretty much the Commanders, where he wants to go to the Commanders.
He's even in a Commander uniform on PFF. That's how much he wants to be.
That's how much he's on there. Okay, so now that we know all of this, your issue is the Niners are playing dirty pool because, in effect, holding on to Brandon Aiyuk past the time of free agency absolutely has no merit. The Niners have no reason to actually try to hold him for any type of assets. That's basically a red herring. You don't believe it because nobody would trade for Brandon Aiyuk. And they're basically trying to sully his name and smack him on the wrist in front of the world stage. And it's dirty pool for the Niners to be this petty.
Correct.
All right. This is where I have a problem, okay? Number one, Brandon Aiyuk has done some unprecedented things in this entire back and forth with the Niners, okay? His aim for his goal to pull off what he wants to do is probably one of the most unprecedented things that we've seen in the NFL with certain players. In effect, while Brandon Aiyuk was asking for his money, right, in negotiations, let me correct myself, in negotiations with the 49ers, yes, Brandon Aiyuk not only embarrassed the 49ers, went out, talked about the Niners not being serious about signing him, palled around with his friend, Jaden Daniels, talked about wanting to team up with him, being with Jaden Daniels, going on podcasts, tweeting. We were there for camp. We saw the entire saga of Brandon Aiyuk missing camp, barely wanting to shake people's hands, not wearing the shorts, the whole nine. We saw all of that, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, this is where I have a problem with Brandon Aiyuk. I can see that everybody could say that the Niners are being petty right now, but there is something called the point of no return, okay, when you're dealing with somebody. All right, and when you get to the point of no return, there's a lot of reasons why you choose to get there. And one of them is for preservation of self, okay? And Brandon Aiyuk has put himself in a position where he has hurt himself in effect of basically telling the 49ers that you're going to send not only do I want the money that you're giving me, but you're going to send me exactly where I want to go. On what planet has an NFL team ever done that for a player that has behaved like Brandon Aiyuk? Brandon Aiyuk has no equity in the NFL right now as far as being a pro. He's on his first deal. All right, his first re-up, and he thinks that he's going to bully his team into not only holding the team over his head to get paid, but now once the money gets voided, you think that I'm going to send you there? In what world do you think that's going to play? I don't believe it. I think that two sides can be wrong at the same time, and two sides can actually have a point. One thing that also stands out to me is that when the reports of Brandon Aiyuk being at the facility and being like the perfect teammate and showing up for weight room and doing all of that, that was after he found out that the Niners had taken his money away, voided his contract and taken his guarantees away. So you come in and basically try to play like the good student for months, hoping that the Niners are going to eventually either change their mind or play you. And then once you realize that they're serious and they're not changing your mind, you go and show your true colors and drive past the stadium at 105 miles per hour and start tweeting all over the place. It's literally the smoking gun as far as I'm concerned. It's when you don't get your way, we see how you act. Then when you get scared, you give us a little bit of consistency. But then once you realize that you're not getting your way again, you go off and do whatever you want again. I'm sorry. At what point is anybody going to hold Brandon Aiyuk accountable as an adult? Like, he's not a child.
So I hear you, and I agree. Like, let's level set a little bit, okay? Brandon Aiyuk definitely was over the top in a lot of the things that he did. The interviews, it's so much so that he admitted it. Like, we don't have to say it. Brandon Aiyuk himself said it. Hey, I probably drug it out a little bit longer than I had to. They had that same contract on the table for about a week or so, and I just kind of sat on it and played a little bit of games and before I finally took it, right? So he himself said that. And I agree with all of that. I agree with everything that you're saying. The issue that I have, though, is the 49ers, the way that they're acting is as if they didn't know who they were getting into bed with. And then they're mad when said person does exactly what they thought he would do based off of who he is, right? So I want to go all the way back to before the actual training camp and everything went down. Let's not forget that before Amon-Ra St. Brown was signed, Brandon Aiyuk was rumored to have wanted around $24 million a year, not 30, 24. The 49ers did not give him that deal because they wanted to play out the offseason. So once the market got reset by Waddle and Amon-Ra St. Brown and some of these other guys, today's price is not yesterday's price. Now all of a sudden you've put yourself into a negotiation when you could have had the deal done early for much less, and you would have been happy. Aiyuk at the time would have been happy. All of the offseason stuff could have been avoided, but you didn't do that, okay? Then all of the offseason stuff does happen. 100% put that on Brandon Aiyuk in the way that he acted. But that doesn't mean that you have to then sign him. You had multiple trade options. I get that Brandon Aiyuk came to you last second and was like, hey, I want to stay here. That doesn't matter. If you feel like you've got a malcontent on your hands and he's been grandstanding on you all offseason, then don't sign him. Don't sign him.
Can I say this, though?
They did sign him. Go ahead.
Can I say this? I believe that the organization is steadfast in how they feel about Brandon Aiyuk because they gave him and the coaching staff contingencies on all of those deals. Do you think that they would have not taken any of those deals if it was up to them? They would have taken every last one of those deals. So really, in my eyes, the holdup is Kyle and Brandon, where they've been continuously turning down the deals. So much so that they had gotten to the last deal, which was at the Steelers, I believe, which was the last deal that they were about to close. What was it, Steelers or the Patriots?
I think it was the Steelers.
Steelers to the last deal, and then Kyle had to come up and reopen the floor again because Brandon finally came to the table after ghosting the team again. Bro, they have been dealing with this for years with him.
I don't disagree, but you knew it. That's like being mad at your girlfriend for cheating on you after you took her back for cheating on you. What are we talking about? Like, she cheated on you and then you took her back and she cheated on you again and you're mad at her? Like,
so I'm supposed to let the bitch watch Netflix on my account with another nigga? No, I'm being petty. No, I gotta stand up for myself. Fuck that. Yes, I made mistakes and I'm being petty now. No more Netflix for you, bitch. No, you don't get to watch Netflix with your new boyfriend.
Then
no,
we agree.
Because I know you wanted to go over there the whole time.
The 49ers are doing this out of being petty. You agree with that?
Yes,
okay, that's all I wanted to hear.
It's my Netflix account. I get
that's
to do
all
what
I wanted to
I
hear.
paid for it.
Because the original conversation we had, you made it sound like the 49ers were well within, like, oh, it's not necessarily being petty. Like, look at what Brandon Aiyuk did. No,
hold on, wait a minute. Two things can be right at the same time, though. The Niners are well within their right not to do Brandon Aiyuk any favors. Is that illegal? Is that horror? No. Is that something where Brandon Aiyuk can go to the CBA? No. Is it petty? Yes. And is there no love lost between Brandon Aiyuk and the 49ers? Absolutely not. I'm petty Betty. Yes. Finally, that the relationship is over, I get to finally tell you how I feel. I'm sick of your ass. I'm sick of you. I never fucking liked you. All of the shit that I had to do for you.
What are they actually accomplishing by doing this? Is Brandon Aiyuk still going to get cut and still going to end up with the Commanders? Most likely.
Most likely.
For what? So then for what? For what? What are you actually accomplishing?
Because you don't get to come into my building, kick up dust, all right? Call me out, say that we're holding you back, all right? Then do all of this shit. Tell us who you want to go play with, take our money, then get mad when we stand on business and don't go back on our word, all right? Because you go back on your word all the time. You get to turn down deals. We don't. So all of a sudden, we stand on business and say, no, we're not giving you your money back, dude. I don't care how many practices you come to now. I don't care how many workouts or how many reporters who are on your side who are putting out all these reports. Brandon Aiyuk is showing a lot of no, we do not care. This is what responsibility looks like, Brandon. I'm not changing my mind. And he crashed out. He showed his true colors. So, yeah, eventually you're going to go to the Commanders and you're going to play for them. But your ass is going to be 28 going on 29 when you do it. I'm not doing you no favors. Ain't no love lost. Hey, listen, I don't have a problem not being liked. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Sometimes you got to have a couple of enemies. It is what it is, dog. It's going to happen
this offseason.
Get it back in blood. Tell BA to get it back in blood.
It's still going to happen this offseason. Well, they're going to play the Commanders this year, and I'm sure he's going to do his best.
Yeah, and tell him to be healthy, too. His ass ain't played in a year.
But listen, my point is that if he ends up on the Commanders this offseason anyways, like, okay, you delayed it for 2 months, like, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't make any sense to me.
If I was the Niners, I'd care.
I guess.
I would care. I'm sorry. I would care. You really played me. Like, dude, we took you in. You came in the league with issues, my dude. We sat here and talked to your coach. You barely made it through college, had to go to a JUCO, came on and had one good consistent year. Then we brought you in, gave you a role as a rookie. Then you started tripping, acting like you didn't want to practice, had to smack your hand then. Now all of a sudden, you playing us like we did you dirty the entire time? And now you want to go play with your mans in front of us? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm petty.
But he's still going to get his way.
I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. You get your way, but I'm fighting to the bitter end. Get it back in blood, bruh. I'm sorry. Hell nah.
I don't know. Listen, if they could stop it from happening or if they weren't going to let him go eventually anyways, I get it. But like, at least you're coming from the standpoint of them being petty, which I agree with. We got people out here that are like, well, I mean, they might get a 7th rounder for him. No, they're not. And if they do, who cares?
They ain't gonna get nothing for him.
They ain't gonna get nothing. Nothing.
You know what I'm saying?
Nothing.
But it's just, I'm a principal dude. You played with my name. I'm sorry. You played with my name. He played with us. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
like.
Listen,
Even
I don't,
like look at the last comment. Who is mentoring Brandon? Even TJ Hoshmazode is coming out and saying that Brandon Aiyuk is bullish and hard-headed, bro. You know what I'm saying? So do what you need to do. Go over to Commanders. Be the man. Play with your 1-year deal. Stay healthy. Do what you got to do. But right now, you're a merc. You're a man with no castle, no country. So you better hope that it works with the Commanders because you're going to need a multiple-year deal. And your ass about to be 30 in a year and a half. So it is what it is, bro. Listen, I don't wish nothing bad on Brandon, but at some point he got to grow up. He's a grown ass man. Like all of this driving around, like you want to get paid. You want to get paid like the guy. You want to be an #1 dude, and you out here blowing your game checks on V6s. Come on, man. You went out and got the Lambo trucks is really just an Audi. Don't even get me talking about cars, bro. But anyway, you got the CTSV Blackwing dog. You could have got a better. Like he ain't even stunting right, bro.
He still has 2 full seasons before he's 30, by the way.
All right, bro. All I'm saying is that he crashed out for a little bit of bread. He got paid and completely showed his whole ass. And he needs a little bit of a wake-up call. Because I do enjoy watching him. I think he's a great player, but I do think that he's a little naive and he's a bit of a crash out.
So he's
a crash out.
Okay, that's fine, but you don't think he was justified at all in crashing out after they wouldn't play him this last year? If that story is true, which I believe it to be true, that he was healthy, he wanted to play. That's why he was around the team. It wasn't to get his money back. He wanted to showcase himself, but in doing so, he also knew that it would help the Niners. The Niners knew it would help them too by having him. They didn't play him. They tried to trade him, couldn't do it, still wouldn't play him. Then that story came out, and he's like, listen, if you're not going to play me and you're going to go out here and tell the story, which we both could have kept under wraps till the season was over, I'm out. I'm out. You don't think he was justified at all in dipping?
No, and I'm going to answer why. No, and I'm going to answer why. I'm going to tell you why. Because it's chess, it ain't checkers. All right? Sometimes optics matter. And he's not really in the position to just act out in like with raw emotion and take for granted that people are just going to understand where he's coming from. I'm going to take you down a little bit of a road right now, just so indulge me. Brandon Aiyuk is a dark-skinned, dread-headed black man in America. All right. Ain't nobody trying to hear no goddamn TED talk about how no nigga feels. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. So nobody's going to take the time to interpret how he's driving fast and maybe this is the reason why he can be expressive with his emotion. No. You out here wilding out with assets that you've been given and trusted with. And the first thing that people is thinking when they see that is that this is why you can't give niggas money. When you do shit like this. So the thing that would have helped Brandon Aiyuk is it was clear that the Niners screwed him because he was there and he was there to play and he was healthy. And the Niners, what's the saddest part about all of this is the Niners are getting away with murder for how they purposely found a loophole to make sure that they voided that money. But none of that is getting highlighted because of Brandon, because of his stupid actions. If he would have just chilled and kept coming to work, dude, I would even showed up on the sidelines in gear, in team gear, sitting there healthy. I would have been in the weight room. It would have been, the silence would have been so loud, Jesse, where it's like, wait a minute, y'all voided his money and he's still coming to work? Brandon Aiyuk is on the sidelines. What are the Niners doing? So why don't they want to play him? It would have been all on the Niners to explain what is going on. But no. What does Brandon do? He wants to get behind the car and play Speed Racer while he's on his phone and take all of the heat off of the Niners. He did it to himself. He hurt himself. And if people would start looking at him like he's a grown man, and they have the same expectations that he has put on himself, talking about they can't pay for a Ferrari. All right, then. There's a reason why Ferrari don't have commercials. It's because they got equity and value, and people know what they really are. Not putting no CTS V Blackwing Cadillac on Instagram, bro, or showing your Lamborghini Urus. Like, come on, bro. Like, he's tacky. It's classless, and he's built to a different standard if he wants the type of money that he says that he wants. So no, Brandon Aiyuk was not justified because he hurt his brand by lashing out. He hurt himself, Jesse. So I can look like I'm hating on him, but I'm holding him to a higher standard because I've seen other guys like him do it far better. Devontae Adams went and did that. When Devontae Adams left the Packers, they sent him where he wanted to go. Because of why? Because of his service, for the type of pro that he was. But Brandon Aiyuk, he want to do it his way. He want to do it his way.
I don't disagree with that, but I feel like there's a double standard in the fact that you're saying 26-year-old Brandon Aiyuk should have been smart enough to recognize and shouldn't have been petty. But this multi-billion-dollar organization, they can be as petty as they want. Who cares? Like I feel like that's a double standard.
It is a double standard, but that's also life. I play games. I play the corporate game with companies that I work for every day. And I also know not to out leverage myself either and put myself in a position where I trick myself out of my own spot because my ego gets involved because I'm dealing with a company or an entity who has far more power than I do. That's what. So what? So all of a sudden the Niners are supposed to be forgiving because they're using the power that they have? Come on, bruh. You got to know the organization you're dealing with. That's life. That's like Brock Purdy going in there to get his deal and him playing hardball with the Niners as if like he is an elite quarterback. No, I don't want this. I don't want this deal. I want the best deal because I'm elite. Like, you're missing the boat. You're missing context. Everybody bends the knee in some way, shape, or form. And Brandon Aiyuk has a hard time doing that. It's business. It's just business.
Killer the Juice Man says, name a player that we drafted that's balling elsewhere. Buckner did for a while. DJ Reed. Aziz Al-Shair. There's a few. Amp Takaro says, what if BA shows up for OTAs and holds in? I don't think we're getting that far. If we get that far, it's gone way too far. Like, if he's on this team during OTAs, like,
I don't know what to say.
I mean, during the offseason, like training camp and stuff, like, no way. Great One says, Purdy led the NFL in time to throw in the pocket before pressure. Stop with the O-line excuses. Purdy mites in their bag of unlimited excuses. Thank you. Murray says, I agreed with Coach. BA lives in a separate world of reality. He played it like it was the hood in a professional world. His agent was not really ever that close to him either, led by the wrong people. Yeah, well, his agent is in the back pocket of John Lynch. Like, let's be honest. So,
come on, man. Come on. Like, the fact that Kyle has the autonomy to be able to run upstairs and say, oh, yeah, I've talked to Brandon. He's ready to talk right now. Bro, it's least privilege, bro. Like, there's way too many hands in the pot. And that's why I feel bad for him in the first place, that he don't have no real representation. He's pretty much enclosed by all of these dudes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just appreciate that you at least said it was being petty, because I feel like a lot
they're
of people
being petty.
They're not on that time. It's like, come on, man, what else is it? Like, what are we really talking about here? Let's go.
I feel like they petty, and I feel like they justified.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Sure, I get. I mean, you can do what you want. Like, I'm not.
So the Giants sending OBJ to Cleveland wasn't petty? Yes, it was petty. Yes, it was petty. Come on, man. It is what it is.
For sure. All right, y'all, listen. Hour and 25 in. Cover 2 Mondays. Love this show, Coach. Hope you have a blessed rest of your week. We'll be talking soon. Everybody in the chat, much love. Talk soon. Peace.